Hello guys and welcome back to a brand new video on my channel. In today's video we are going to be doing a Chelsea transfer news roundup of all the latest stuff that's been going on, basically discussing some of the most recent advancements, or even, not advancements. Certain players have slipped away from us, certain players have renewed their contract, that will then have implications on who we sign. So let's go over basically in each of the areas of the field what's been going on with Chelsea. It'll be a good roundup of almost all the news as well, not just transfer news. But of course, it plays a part into who we sign, what sort of deals we end up making. So I wanted to make this video, guys, to go over it, give you guys a good brief understanding of what's going on. So let's get into it. So far, I feel with the players we've been getting linked with, there's been quite a few links. You see Sancho, he seems like he's slipping away. You see Alex Telles, he's about to sign for PSG for about 25 million right now. And Gabriel at centre-back no longer even seems like an option. So I'm just hoping that with the latest links we've got, we can actually push on and maybe make some advancements and go ahead and sign those players, because I feel as if a lot of the time of late we have been trying to push through some players and it hasn't been working. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if we've actually been linked to them or it's just paper talk. You never really know with Abramovich, because as we know with Chelsea and Abramovich, Abramovich never really allows a story to be leaked to the press unless he's about to sign that player. So that makes it hard to speculate. That makes it hard when we see a story to go, yep, he could be signing in like a month's time. That rarely happens. We saw that with Pulisic and Ziyech. All of a sudden I woke up one morning, Ziyech was about to sign. By the time I'd come back on my laptop, Ziyech had signed. So things can move very quickly at Chelsea. When we want to sign a player, the story will get leaked and then it'll be wrapped up. So often when the stories come out, you do have to take it with a pinch of salt. But of course we can still discuss names, we can still discuss things because they are still possible to go through. Ziyech's name was talked about, a couple of months before. It was just the way the whole thing resolved was very quick. So let's just go ahead and get started with this video. Goalkeeper news, we haven't had much, mainly because, well, there have been a few names such as Donnarumma or Onana, but unfortunately, or maybe not unfortunately, they've kind of been moved on, I feel. That's kind of come about with the contract extension of Caballero, which happened about a week ago now, and also Kepa now it seems is going to be staying as not a suitable offer. It will not be arriving, I don't think, this summer, so I suspect that Kepa and Caballero will be our two goalkeepers for next season. Right back again, it seems pretty secure. I think James and Aspie will stay there. Hakimi, there was a bit of interest in that, but I'm hearing that Chelsea have now decided to move away from that area as they trusted Reece James. Centre-back is an interesting one. There was that interest in Gabriel, which seemed quite concrete, but unfortunately that seems like it's passed on now, and really I think Napoli and Arsenal are probably closest to him as of now, but I think Napoli will probably end up snatching up. They seem like they have more funds at the moment than the London club. But apart from that, they've basically been no names. That could be a good sign, maybe. Name can come out of nowhere and then we sign them within the hour, as we've seen in the past with the likes of Ziyech and Pulisic. But apart from that, I can't see anyone actually getting brought in unless any of our four current centre-backs leave. Zuma, Rudiger, Christensen, Tomori. Are any of them going to go? It's looking unlikely, so maybe a centre-back will not be brought in. Left-back, though, one of the main reasons I wanted to make this video, because there has been a new concrete link, and it could be a very, very exciting one, guys. So let's get started. Way more interesting in this position than some of the other ones. There's been an interesting news story, and the news story that's been coming around is that Nico Tagliafico could be available to sign for Chelsea in the summer for around 22 to 25 million pounds, which is an absolutely brilliant deal. It's a brilliant steal. There's been a lot of news about this. His agent's come out and said, I won't reveal the name of the club, which for me could be a positive. Like I said, Chelsea never really like their name being revealed in the transfers unless they're about to wrap up the deal, which is what Abramovich does very well. So that for me was a good sign when I saw his agent say that, Tagliafico's agent that was. But I do worry, I have that inkling in me, like Telles, that seemed really close. His agent was coming out. A lot of the Portuguese and Brazilian press were saying, yeah, Telles is close to Chelsea. He wanted to move there a while ago. Now it seems more possible. And then all of a sudden he was off to PSG, which looks like it's going to be wrapped up any minute now. I mean, we don't know. Chelsea could come in with a late swoop. Either way, they're both around 25 million pounds, which is an absolute steal, essentially. They're both, I think, 25 million euros, 22.5 million pounds. I think it's like their roundabout conversion rate. But I'm just worried that it will collapse again. I hope that doesn't happen with Tagliafico. I like him as a left back. I think not only is he smart going forward, but he's also a good defender, which I think is quite underrated in the modern fullback. But like we've spoken about in the past, Tagliafico won't be brought in unless one of Emerson or Alonso end up leaving. There's been more concrete links for Emerson, but I think his price tag has put off quite a lot of other teams. Chelsea wanted around 30-40 million for him. I think it's best if we just lower that price a little bit, 20 million maybe, to get rid of Emerson, and then we can bring in someone like Tagliafico with the same sort of price. Could be a good deal. Alonso, I think, is probably more willing to leave. Emerson came out recently and said, I want to stay in London. He probably likes the lifestyle there with the likes of Willian. David Luiz has left now. Willian could be on the way out too. That could play a factor. But apart from that, I'm not entirely sure what's the situation with Emerson is. I think he wants to stay, but he's probably more likely to leave than Alonso anyway, who maybe would be more willing to leave, if that makes sense. Midfield for me seems like a position we've got completely covered. I know if you guys watched my other video discussing Chelsea potential transfers and squad for the upcoming season, I discussed how I think we should just stick with our midfielders for this season. But there have been a lot of links for Jorginho, and he seems like he could be maybe on the way out. I don't really want him to leave. If he does, it would open up the path to Billy Gilmore, to the first team, and maybe even a new signing like Aouar could be brought in if we were to get around 50 million for Jorginho. But I think right now, with how decreased the market is, Chelsea won't get rid of Jorginho for 35 million. There's no point in doing that, and honestly it'd be best if we keep a player like him, because I can't see anyone paying above what we paid for him initially. And Chelsea, with their deals, with their transfers, we very rarely lose money on players, and if we do, it's for the good of the team, and it's a smart deal either way. Sort of Morata, I think we've lost about 10, maybe 15 million on him, but that's still really, really good considering how much we paid for him and how much he did indeed disappoint. Moving further forward, Ross Barkley was linked to Newcastle. I heard that the takeover looks like it's going ahead well now, so Barkley was a player they were looking at to bring in. He could be someone to drive them forward in the early stages of their new Premier League campaign, but I think he could also stay at Chelsea. His future's up in the air right now. If Chelsea gather enough funds, then we could go for someone like Kai Havertz, but again, he's going to be near the 100 million mark, so that also looks quite unlikely in the modern market. But whether Barkley goes or not is certainly up in the air right now, and bringing in someone like Havertz would honestly be incredible, but that looks quite unlikely. Moving on to the winger slots now, which is also very, very interesting, and it's a hot topic at Chelsea really. Who's going to be coming in, who's going to be going out? So there's been news stories frequently with this one. Let's start with Pedro and Willian. I think they're 99% leading right now. I'm a little bit annoyed about that. I think depending on their destinations, if they go to Italy, I'd be quite pleased. If they go to a London rival, I'd be disappointed. If that's strengthening them and it's a free transfer, that would irritate me. There's been other links, Jeremy Bogle we recently spoke about. He is going to be staying at Sassuolo. Chelsea have negotiated that we no longer have the buyback option. We do have a choice on his future sale, so if he's about to sign for Arsenal or Tottenham, we can say no, steer him away from them, which is quite good. I like that. If he turns into a top player, then we can obviously do that. And Jadon Sancho currently seems closer to United, and maybe even no one with how big his price tag is, like we saw with Kai Havertz. They could be staying just because of the way the market is now. But there's been a new link, guys, and it's Said Benrahma, who's a Brentford player. He's a player in the Championship. I believe he's from Algeria, and he's a real talent. He's been rumoured to come up. He's brought about massive attention from the Chelsea fan base, and he's a player who I do like. He interests me. His price tag, it could reach about 35-40 million, we're hearing at first. I think Chelsea could get that down to about 30, if I'm being honest with you, in this market. That's still quite a big addition. In a normal market that's about 50, so I think that could be a decent price tag for him. That's maybe a fair price for someone who could go on to be a great player. Let's not go out here and act like we've watched him massively. He's in the Championship. It's hard to catch action of those games, of course. And despite the fact that I'm sure, many of us haven't watched him consistently on a 90-minute basis, but I still think he's a player that does have that wow factor about him. He is interesting, and maybe like when we were going to sign Eden Hazard, a lot of us wouldn't have watched him frequently for Lille, but he did have a great reputation. He's had some great seasons in the past, and you don't want to go and compare him to Hazard immediately. One, because it's harsh to compare someone to Hazard who's had such an amazing career at Chelsea, and two, the situation is a little bit different with the Championship and Ligue 1, but it is a little bit similar, and I see similarities in their game, the flair, the wow factor I was talking about. He's a sort of player I'd like to see us bring in, and I hope that he can be the sort of player to maybe even be a sort of replacement for Hazard. Not an official one. We still have Pulisic, Hudson-Odoi, Ziyech even, players like that. But the player that, if we bring in Benrahma, that could be that player that, has that little bit of flair about them, the player to dig us out of a game. I think he could be that. It sounds odd considering he's coming from the Championship, but for me he's got a massive future and he's a top player. I've been really impressed whenever I've seen Benrahma. None of us should come out and lie that we've been studying this guy for years, but we've heard great things about him. I've seen him in bits and bobs this season for Brentford in highlights or whatsoever, and he's been amazing. His stats are really good as well, so he's been the sort of player I'd like to see us bring in. But like Boga, like a few others, we don't want to see that link that's been given to the club and just snatched away. I hope we can follow this one up. That name excites me, and that could be a really good signing. Also, guys, I'll add in one extra name. Jesus Corona from Porto has been linked recently. He's reportedly available for his 30 million release clause. His agent recently came out and said that in an interview, and I think Chelsea maybe have him as like an option B or even an option C in terms of a winger option for the summer. Striker is a little bit more cool now than it was when I recorded my video a couple of weeks ago. Mertens is now staying at Napoli, which I potentially still see as an opportunity missed. Despite his age, I like the player as a whole. He's a great player for me. Tammy and Giroud, I think, are going to be staying. That's Abraham and Big Olivier, so I think they're going to be at the club next season. Giroud recently signed a new contract, and one for Tammy is very much on the way. Another attacker could come onto the scene. As of now, no new names have cropped up, so I think we could just move on with the attacking spot and the striker role for now. Batshuayi, I suspect, will be on the way out. If not, if we don't get a name in, I'm guessing he'll stay. Similar with the left back role, guys. If people don't go out, we can't just bring in more. We won't have the funds, and two, we'll just have players on top of each other, which won't go down well in the group setup. To wrap up this video, guys, I want to say that, the likes of Gabriel, Telles, Boga, Sancho, Mertens, they've all seemed to have slipped away right now. And that to me is a little irritating. So with these new links, Tagliafico, Benrahma, those will be the main ones of today. Let's see if we can wrap these up. I think that would be a great couple of additions, and that would set us up nicely for next season. Also, I just wanted to mention the financial situation of Chelsea right now. I think a lot of clubs are maybe saying, yep, you're not going to sign anyone, you're going to be stuck with another transfer ban. But Chelsea, honestly, are in a really good spot compared to a lot of clubs, and I'll say why. I think most clubs apparently have zero money, essentially, maybe 5 mil here and there. They'll basically only be able to do free transfers, swap deals, and loans. Chelsea, on the other hand, have a lot of money coming back. Not only do we have funds from Morata, who we now will be getting 55 million for, and that's something that will be coming in. There's no ifs, no buts about that. Atletico are obliged to pay that. It's an obligation to buy at the end of his loan. We will be receiving that money, and the Atletico know that. And there's also other players coming back. We have the Hazard money from a while ago. We were in massive profit last summer because we basically didn't sign anyone, whilst other clubs were, in hundreds of millions of pounds negative net spend. We actually had a positive outcome. We were one of the few clubs to have that. I think us, Liverpool, and maybe Norwich at the bottom there, who actually had a positive spending. And maybe I'll put the image up on the screen, actually, now that I've mentioned it. But yeah, it basically showed in the summer we had saved a lot of money, and we'll be saving even more. More players will be going who will be come back from loan. We also have other potential deals to go. Morata money is coming back. Bakayoko, I see. The Hazard money. And with Chelsea, we'll have money on top of that. We have Abramovich, we have Marina. Massively transfer-wise, I really like the way they deal with transfers at the club, and I do trust them to do the right things and make the right calls. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on Chelsea's financial situation. I still do back us to bring in some big players and make the appropriate additions, and I think we'll be better placed than a few other clubs despite the current crisis. But yeah, anyway guys, that's where I'm going to end this video. Please do drop a like if you enjoyed it. I tried to go through basically everything right now, kind of a news roundup, kind of a transfer roundup, going through all the positions, talking about all the recent links, and giving you guys all you need to know about the Chelsea situation right now. I'm thinking of doing maybe a few more of these videos in the future. With football returning now, we can get back to the previews, we can get back to the match reviews, the live watch-alongs, that sort of thing. I'm super excited for that, which is of course great. But yeah, apart from that guys, that's where I'm going to leave this video. Please, as I said, drop a like, share it, comment, of course, always comment. I'll get back to you. We can have a discussion about any player in the comment section down below. Leave your thoughts, and I'll see you all guys later. Goodbye.